Hi, my name is Charlie Malone, and I love to share stories and books with children and the grown-ups who take care of them. And today we're going to read a really interesting book about a person that I did not know. And her name is Corita Kent, and she was a kid who grew up very interested in art. And as maybe you can tell from what she's wearing, she became a nun. And she became a wonderful teacher, and she shared the joy and pleasure of making things with the children that she taught. And this is a book, it's pretty long, so it's a book for maybe 5 to 12-year-olds. And if you're older than that, it's fine too. I love to read books that are written for children that age because I can learn a lot in a quick amount of time. So let's just dive in and learn about the life of Corita Kent, the life and art of Corita Kent. I like this front page. It tells you different things to do. Observe a shadow. Cut out letters and shapes. Notice a billboard differently. Got it in a different way. Make a stamp. Make a road sign. Look at something upside down. And this book is dedicated to MB, for the teachers, yours and mine, who make the world more alive for their students. And for the artist in you, now and always, there is an artist in you. The person who makes things is a sign of hope. That's a quote from Corita Kent. Make Meatballs sing. What? The life and art of Corita Kent. Words by Matthew Burgess, and the pictures are by Kramer. When Frances Elizabeth Kent was a child in Hollywood, California, she discovered a hole in the hedge behind her house. Her friend Helen lived in the house across the way, and the two girls would slip through this leafy window to play in the shade on sunny afternoons. When Helen was sick with scarlet fever, they weren't allowed to play together. But Frances had an idea. If she sat on her side of the hedge and Helen sat on the other, they could read aloud through the tunnel. Frances's parents struggled to support their 6 children. Her father worked at a restaurant, a furnace company, and later was hired to operate a jackhammer, breaking up blacktop in the blazing California heat. Sounds like a very hard job. Her mother started a laundry business to help make ends meet. She'd ask her 3 daughters to help press collars and cuffs, but sometimes Frances would sneak away to read, draw, and daydream. So the mom and dad are working very hard to make sure that the kids can have a good life. When Frances was in 6th grade, Sister Noemi noticed her love of art and offered to give her lessons. As she painted, Frances became what she called a bird in the breeze of her brush. Wow! So she's the bird in the breeze of her brush as she paints. In high school art class, Frances and her fellow students were asked to copy classic pictures and paintings. And Frances did her best to follow the rules. Because you can learn a lot of things by copying other paintings. But her father, who was an artist at heart, encouraged her in a different direction. He's got question marks on his sleeve. I wonder how he's going to encourage her in a different direction. Why don't you do something original? Frances pondered his question, but years passed before she understood what he meant, or where to even begin. How do you do that? The summer after she graduated from high school, Frances enrolled in drawing classes at a college nearby. So you can see how her life is starting to take shape. Ever since she was a little kid, she liked to read and write and draw. Then she got some lessons in middle school, and she continued to make art in high school. And now she's going to drawing school in college. And then she made a big announcement that surprised her closest friends and family. Frances decided to become a nun. Wow, that's a big decision. On the day she joined the Order of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, she processed into the chapel as Frances Elizabeth Kent and emerged Sister Mary Corita. So becoming a nun is, I don't know a lot about it, but it's when you dedicate your life to the church. And so this is what she's decided to do. So I wonder how she's going to carry her art into that. One of Corita's new duties was to teach elementary school children. At first she felt nervous, but soon kittens, rabbits, foxes, and frogs danced across the walls of Corita's classroom, and bright flowers bloomed here and there. Oh my goodness. Look at all the wonderful art the kids are making. Corita grew into a talented teacher, and she even trained young nuns who would be teaching for the first time, taking them on field trips and sharing ideas for bringing creativity into the classroom. That was really important to her. Classrooms do not need to be dull and boring, right? They can be a place where we learn how to be creative. Several years later, Sister Magdalene Mary, who ran the art department at Immaculate Heart College, asked Corita to join the faculty. So, this is a professor at a college. Sister Magdalene Mary is a professor at a college, and she asks Corita to become a teacher at the college as well. To prepare, she studied art history and took a printmaking class. She wanted to master these techniques and share them with her students at Immaculate Heart. This is very interesting. She's learning how to do silk screening and make prints. As the colors slipped through the screen, layer over layer, Corita felt inspired. One afternoon, a student offered to introduce Corita to Maria Sodi de Ramos Martinez, the widow of a famous Mexican muralist. A muralist is someone who paints big paintings, canvases on walls. They met, and Maria kindly led Corita through the process of serigraphy, also known as silk screening. One, you prepare a screen. And then you do that by one way to do that is to block out where you don't want the ink to go. Then you place a paper under the screen, and then you squeeze ink through the screen, and then you lift to see the print that's left on the paper. So she blocked out those circles, or she blocked out the spaces between the circles, and then the ink just went here, here, and here. Less than 1 year later, one of Corita's prints won first prize in 2 California competitions, and soon a gallery in Boston offered to show her work. She and Sister Magdalene traveled to Massachusetts for the opening night. But first, they had a snowball fight. The two sisters began making yearly trips across the country, giving talks at colleges and exploring the art scene in New York City. When a generous friend offered to pay their way, they embarked on a longer adventure. They went to France, where they ate pastries in Paris, fed pigeons in Venice, that's a city in Italy, and rode camels beside the Great Pyramid of Giza. So they went to a lot of different places. Back in Los Angeles, Corita and Magdalene were busy transforming the Immaculate Heart College art department into a lively center of art and design. Wow. There she would teach her students, nothing is a mistake. There's no winning, no fail. There's only make. She would suggest things like, draw self-portraits with a stick. As an art teacher, Corita was serious about play. She believed the best work is done when play and work are one. She even created a new word. Well, I love when people make up new words because they have to describe something in a new way. Let's see what her new word is, okay? Plork! I wonder how she made that word. Well, I see 2 words in there. The beginning of play, P-L, and the end of work, O-R-K. Plork. play, work. Plork. Wow. Oh, wait a second, this is a special page. Pretend you are a microscope. Together, they walked down Hollywood Boulevard to a gas station, a car wash, and a supermarket. She wanted her students to look at ordinary things until the little details came alive. In this assignment, Corita asked her students to cut a small window into a piece of cardboard to make a finder. This is something that you could do at home, and it's really easy. And you could just get a piece of cardboard, and if you can't do it by yourself, have your somebody that's older than you help you cut out a middle rectangle, and then you look through it. So it's like having a little camera with you that just take pictures. You sort of see the world, and you can look at everything. It's like, oh, this looks different when I'm looking through my little magic card. See, that's what all the people are doing there. Gotta watch out for these special pages. So is this one? Okay. Corita explored these same approaches in her own work. Something would catch her eye, maybe a billboard, a street sign, an ad in a magazine, and she would take these words, shapes, and colors and rearrange them into something new, like a collage, or maybe even something different, like this wheel. And so she took all like pieces and parts of all these things that she saw, and then she made a spinning wheel with it. In her screen print titled Song About the Greatness, Corita borrowed the slogan for Del Monte tomato sauce. Del Monte quality. If you look closely, you will see she has written a psalm inside the word sing. I don't know where this work of art is, but the psalm, that's like a poem, says, "Let the ocean thunder with all its waves, the world and all who dwell there. The river clap their hands, the mountains shout together with joy." Oh, there it is. There's. She wrote it in Make Meatballs Sing. So this is her silk screen, and it says, this is Make Meatballs Sing, and then there in the sing, in smaller letters, she wrote that song. About this piece, Corita said, Scripture, spiritual world, like in this case it's from the Bible, Scripture and billboards are talking to each other. If mountains can sing about rivers and if mountains can shout and rivers can clap their hands, then meatballs can sing. Wow. In her way, Corita invited others to see the sacred, the spiritual, in their everyday lives. Wow. That's amazing. At Immaculate Heart, an event called Mary's Day for Mother Mary had been a long tradition. Each year, students wore black and white and walked silently across the campus in straight lines. When the college invited the art department to do something new, Corita responded, well, if this is a celebration, let's make it a real celebration. And so, she changed it. Mary's Day exploded into a joyful picnic and a parade and a march, and they made signs. Let the sunshine in. Bread for all. Enjoy life. Peace, peace, peace. Pancake a day. We can make it. Be of love. Get with action. Wow, that looks like fun. For Corita, art, activism, and protest and celebration were connected. She made bold prints that spoke out against injustice, poverty, and war, and she inspired others to stand up for their beliefs. These are some of her anti-war slogans. Stop the bombing. Hope. In 1966, when Corita was 49, the Los Angeles Times named her one of 9 Women of the Year. A year later, she was on the cover of Newsweek magazine. But not everyone approved of Corita's work. Her toughest critic by far was the Archbishop, who complained that her art crossed the line. She shouldn't be doing it. For the women of Immaculate Heart, the moment had arrived for the church to change to the changing times. Come on, we can't just keep doing things the old way. But when the sisters pushed for more change and more reforms, the Archbishop crushed their requests and said, no, the church has to stay the same. Corita needed a break. She was given a 6-month leave. For the first time in years, she was able to come and go as she pleased. So she took a break from the nunnery. So it's called her sabbatical. But when the sabbatical was over, Corita made an announcement that again surprised her closest friends and family. At age 50, Corita asked to be released from her vows. That means she's no longer going to be a nun. She had been a teacher and a sister of the Immaculate Heart for over 30 years, and she was ready for a new adventure. So she hung up her nun habit. Corita moved to Boston and continued to create new work. The Boston Gas Company asked her to paint a gigantic oil tank along the expressway. And then it was called the biggest rainbow of Corita's artistic career, the largest copyrighted work of art in the world. She also started making big billboards so everybody in their cars could see. We can create life without war. Wow, that's an important statement. Years later, her smallest rainbow appeared when the United States Postal Service commissioned Corita to design a stamp. It reached people all over the world. It sold over 700 million of these stamps. For Corita, the rainbow was a symbol of the love, hope, and kindness that unite people across the globe, regardless of their differences. Toward the end of her life, Corita liked to drive with a friend to the beach or to a field with a river running through it. Be happy. Enjoy yourself. Poised with her watercolors under the open sky, she would look out and feel the joy of becoming a bird in the breeze of her brush. There's always a great light in you. Oh, that's a very inspiring story. And I didn't even know Corita Kent. I didn't know anything about her life. But I saw this beautiful book and I read it and I learned about her and I wanted to share that with you. These last pages are it's called a chronology or timeline of her life. And a lot of times the books that are about kind of a biography of a person will give you a timeline near the end. It's sort of all the important moments in her life. So I hope you enjoyed that book and I hope you were inspired. Maybe you want to learn more about Corita Kent. Maybe you want to make things. Maybe you want to play down by the river. Maybe you want to do some plorking. Remember that word? And then also, anybody in the whole world that inspires you, you can learn more about that person by reading books and talking to people about that person. I'm happy that I got this chance to share with you the life and art of Corita Kent. Until next time, see you outside.